Okay guys, welcome to another video. So today is just a bit of a short one, to be honest. I've been really busy at work, but I was thinking a great video could be on how to use Chatgpt effectively as a junior developer. Because I see people having a very mixed reviews on Chatgpt. Some people think it's useless in the software world. Other people think, it's the biggest kind of thing to make them productive ever. Personally, the way I use it, I think, is a little bit different to most people. So I basically, how I use GPT is, I first of all would say, if possible, get GPT-4. It's a lot more accurate. You can get a lot more out of it, and it can search through Bing. So if you can afford that, do get GPT-4. I highly recommend it. And then the second thing that I would say is, the way to approach ChatGPT is not to abuse it. Now, what I mean by abusing it is that if you decide, give me the answers for everything, asking it to do stuff, and you copy and paste without thinking, then you're not really, utilizing the power of ChatGPT, right? ChatGPT, in my opinion, needs to be used as a bit of a mentor. For example, recently I started making like a to-do list that I've deployed, like a full stack application. I'm just making it to be this kind of like app that I'm going to use for all my personal stuff with my wife. So one thing I asked it was, I was making an interface. So for example, I made an interface, I think it was something like interface read to do, or maybe let's just go I read to do. And let's just say I stuck in, I think, let's just say name, string, no, not even that. Let's just do I read to do response, as if we were getting a response from an API. And let's just do something like, I don't know, maybe we want to have, success, Boolean, and we want to have error, optional, maybe there's no error, string, and then we maybe want to have data. Now, let's say, for example, let's say we're gonna put data, and we'll say data is, I don't know, interface I read to do. So this is just I read to do with nothing. We could just say, I don't know, we'll just put name, string, complete, Boolean, and let's just leave it really simple. Let's just leave it like that. And then we'll say data is of type I read to do. Now, this is good, maybe, right? But what the way to use GPT is to ask it, ask it as if you're asking a senior developer, or you're trying to figure out the right way to do something, right? So maybe I've thought about this and I'm like, yeah, this is good, but it'd be nice if I can make this extensible. What if I want data to be something else? So I could just say, how can I make this more reusable? Now, I don't know what it's going to come up with here, but for me, I would use a TypeScript generic in this interface. Yeah, use generics for response interface, right? All this kind of jazz. So the way to work with ChatGPT is to kind of prompt it in a way that's how can you make this piece of code better? How would I change that? What's something I haven't considered? Actually, this is another good one, right? Asking what you haven't considered. So let's just cancel this for now. Let's just say that you're going to make a schema for to-dos, right? So let's say something like, I'm making a schema for to-dos. It looks like this, and then let's just put to-dos schema, and we just put name is a string. We put a description as a string. We put completed string, and here's where you can get a bit more funky, right? You can say okay, what are is this is this a good schema? No, maybe not is good. We don't want to use any confirmation bias because the scientific method is not using biases as much as possible. So let's do stuff like, is this schema usable or not usable? And then we can ask it stuff like, how might it be improved? Is there anything I miss? So the way to talk with GPT really is, it's about like, it's exploratory. Use it as an exploratory tool. Sure, there's times when you can just get it to paste out. Like, here we go. For example, I'm looking at this real quick. Type consistency, saying that make sure we're using types. Make sure we have timestamps, because of course you're going to want to like, create that, update that. For example, in my actual schema for to-dos in this app, if we go to modules, where are we? Entities, to-dos. Yeah, we're actually in there now. So I have, an ID, a title, description, created by, completed date. I've got some type on, before insert and after, before update, completed project, due date, and to do date time. I actually don't know what this is. Maybe I can remove it. I'm not sure. But more importantly, it extends common entity, which has deleted date, created date, updated date, version. These are important meta kind of like datas that you're going to need in most entities or schemas. So yeah, again, asking GPT the right questions. How can I improve this? Is there anything that I've missed? Is there a more, what is the normal way to do it? For example, when I tackled pagination, for example, which is just, setting up a way of reading from a server in pages, right? Maybe we want to get the next 10 results each time. And maybe if we had 100 results, we'd want 10 pages of 10 results. I've had like an idea of like, oh, this is how I want to do pagination. I'm going to try it, like, have a take, have a skip and whatnot. But it's easier just to go, what is the industry standard of doing pagination using TypeScript? Of course, this is if you want to use TypeScript, maybe you want to use something else, right? So you should always ask it stuff. Try to ask how a kind of standardized way of doing it. A lot of problems in software development, there's industry standard ways of doing things, and they will be a lot better, So this is actually similar to how I've set mine up. So yeah, but don't just like copy this. Don't just copy this and paste it in and not know what you're looking at. For example, if you don't know what generic is, like pagination response here, this is where you can pass a type in and then say that data is this type and it's an array of whatever type. So for example, if we passed in to do, right? If we passed in pagination response to do, it would say data would be a type to do, an array of to-dos. I'll make another video soon on TypeScript because that's my main language. Maybe we can go through how to start on TypeScript from JavaScript. But yeah, I think this is the best way to kind of utilize ChatGPT, at least as a programmer. See it as kind of your senior developer who you can talk with and have conversations. Do not fall into the lapse of just abusing it and just copying and pasting. You will not learn anything, and you'll struggle in any situation where you don't have ChatGPT, and it won't make you a good developer. You'll be basically useless without ChatGPT, and trust me, you don't want to be in that situation. A good example is, like, before I understood how to use Redux, I tried to get it to implement Redux in my project, and I fed it, and I kept feeding these copy and paste into my project, and then eventually I was like, I just have no idea how Redux works, and my project didn't work how I thought it worked because I didn't have any idea. I was just copy and pasting. It's a bit like going on Stack Overflow and just copy and pasting everything. It's really important to understand and utilize it that way. So yeah, if anyone has any video requests, feel free to let me know. I'm interested in making more videos for you guys. I do like a bunch of like shorter videos on stuff like dealing with objects and arrays and kind of simple things, because to be quite honest, this channel is mostly for me. Like, I just want to become the best developer I can, and a lot of that is through teaching other people stuff, and but then simultaneously there's a lot of information that I couldn't get hold of, especially being a UK developer, that like I want to pass on to other people, because I had to go and ask people on Reddit and just like, and everywhere I could, just to like help me out, or I had ask all these questions. So yeah, please feel free to leave a comment down below if you've got something I want to do. If you've got any questions, let me know. Yeah, thanks for watching.